Um, but if you hate me, I cannot help it. All right. Okay. So what are we going to? So far, I think we have covered quite a few things so far. So last session we almost concluded the financial aspect of project tracking. Before that, we have spent some time on scheduling, and we also went through some of the key project artifacts, such as a status report and how to create project charter and so on. So let's segue into from an interview perspective, because it's one thing to know these things, and it's completely another thing how you need to tackle them in an interview. The problem with interviews is some of the questions that they ask you is camouflaged. And it's not that the interviewer is trying to make it any difficult for you, but everybody says things differently. Somebody may say to you, hey, tell me about yourself. The other person may say, hey, why don't you get started? When you say, why don't you get started, it means, hey, tell me about yourself. Or they may not even say anything. Sometimes they just look at you, and which means that, hey, they are asking you, why are you looking into my face? Start telling me about yourself. So the thing is, sometimes the questions in the interview, they are, I would say, camouflaged. I don't know the spelling of camouflaged. It's a Microsoft Word. So those are hidden questions. And I think one of the things that will need to be understood is, how do I really read the mind of the interviewer and understand what exactly is he asking? Now, there are a few cues that you will get. Number one is, if the question is not clear to you, you can ask him, hey, is this what you mean? Second thing is, you need to look at the job description. And from there, that will give you an idea, the size of the company, and maybe you need to look at the LinkedIn profile of the person who is interviewing you. Size of the company, size or type of company, I would say, type of company. That will tell you, that will give you some idea about why is he asking you this question. I don't have it really, but I'll just make up one example here. For example, if it's a small software company, and a lot of times you will get interviews from, not always you will get interviews from Bank of Montreal or TD Bank or those giants. Sometimes you will get an interview call from a small company, a small software company, which has maybe 10 people working for it. And they develop an application, and they sell it, they make $1 million out of it. They all are rich people, don't get me wrong, but they don't have 100,000 employees, they have only 10 people. And when they ask you is, okay, tell me about what did you like most about your role at Bank of Montreal, for example, if that's what you have put on your resume that you used to work at Bank of Montreal. You need to be cautious here. Because this person, this company, or this interviewer, I'll make this a skinny guy, who is the interviewer. This interviewer is trying to get in your mind that this is, and Rehan, I'll pick you, that Rehan used to work at Bank of Montreal or Sun Life Financial, and Sun Life Financial is a company of 15,000 employees work there, and everybody in Canada is aware of Sun Life Insurance, whereas we here are, I'll make up a name, T&T Brothers, for example, or T&T Inc., or T&T Tech Solutions, let's say. That's how the software companies' names are usually. Or Infotech or something, like Infotech is a big name, but they want to know what is Rehan thinking in his mind, leaving a company which is so well known as Sun Life Financial, which has 15,000 people, which can offer a career. What is really Rehan thinking about joining our company? Is he using our company just as a stepping stone to come here while he continues to search for a job, or is he really serious about joining us, or is he more used to a hierarchical structure of an organization, or is he more comfortable with a flat structure of an organization? Does he spend too much time on documenting stuff? Because here in our company, we do not even produce a project charter. We just get a project and we start working on it. We do not go through all those project charter and approvals and emails and SharePoints and all that stuff. We do not do that. But he is coming from a company which is where it is almost, you cannot even function if you do not know all those protocols and processes. So when they ask you, hey, Rehan, tell me about what did you really like about Sun Life Financial? So, and if Rehan goes and says, hey, Sun Life Financial, I love Sun Life Financial. It's a great company. It's one of the biggest companies in Canada. That's the red flag. Because you say, okay, you're telling me that your previous employer was so big and I am a tiny, small employer who cannot really offer you those perks and benefits. Screw you. I'm not going to hire you. So really you need to understand. So the question he has asked is, tell me what did you like about Sun Life Financial? But here the real question is, hey, you are coming from a big company. You have seen VPs and senior vice presidents who make a lot of money. You are used to a certain hierarchical structure, whereas here I am a small company. I want to know, Rehan, will you be comfortable working in a very small company? Now, some people will be honest and they will really ask you this question. Will you be honest? Will you be comfortable leaving a big company and working for a small name like a startup company like us? Some people will not be so honest. They will camouflage the question. They will mask the question and ask you, tell me about what did you like about Sun Life Financial. So you cannot change the type of their company. You need to change your answer. You can tell them, hey, you need to talk about some different aspects of Sun Life Financial. For example, you can say Sun Life Financial was a great place for me to learn a lot of new technologies. I learned Jira there. I learned Confluence there. I honed my skills of Microsoft Project there, and so on and so forth. So you will need to emphasize on a slightly different aspect of your job rather than talking about Sun Life is the biggest name in Canada. It has 15,000 people, and they have very robust project management processes, and they have EPMO and so on and so forth. So that's not where you want to go. Whereas, tell me about what did you like about Sun Life Financial. If the same question is asked to you at, for example, TD Bank, your answer will be completely different. Because here you're doing an apple-to-apple comparison. Sun Life Financial is a champion in their insurance industry, and TD Bank is a champion in their banking industry, and they, to a certain extent, they can be compared in terms of type of employers. So you may say something along the same lines that Sun Life Financial had very robust processes. It's a project-based type of environment, and the culture was great. They had a culture of recognition and appreciating and admiring employees who were working well. It's a very friendly culture, very collaborative environment, and so on. So you will make some comparisons which will be more aligned with TD Bank, because that's where the person where your interview is taking place. So really, you need to master the art of interviewing by understanding what is the real question. That is half the battle. A lot of times I come across people who I say, hey, how did your interview go? And they say, yeah, it was great. And then they never hear back from the employer. The reason is they did not understand the question. They thought maybe the question was, tell me about what did you like about Sun Life Financial, and I gave them all the good answers, but really those answers were not aligned to what the interviewer was actually asking for. If there was a filter through which you could filter every question and interpret it exactly the way what is going on in the mind of the interviewer, the real question was, will you be comfortable leaving a career in a big organization and starting to work for a startup company like ours? Will you be comfortable with doing this? Or tell me about why you are so desperate to leave your career in a big multinational company and starting to work for people like us who nobody knows. What is wrong with you? Why are you doing it? Are you spying on us? Are you trying to steal our industrial secrets? Are you trying to build something similar to our lines? Do you want to be part of our team, who's a startup, and be somebody like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs and so on? Or what is your real reason for doing this? So to understand, to interpret the question, and you will have only maybe a fraction of a second to really translate the question, what he's asking, the words that he's saying, and to get into why is he asking me this question. And this will come, and this is something that, after your interviews, when we do those debrief sessions, when I go through with you, is okay, what was the question, what did they ask, and what did you answer? Some of those things, they come out in those one-on-one sessions. So after your interviews, I will suggest, if you have a feeling, if you are not getting success after one or two interviews, it's really important that we need to have those debriefing sessions going through the details of what the questions were asked and what you answered, so that we can improve your next interview. Otherwise, you will continue to repeat the same mistakes that you were making, and you will get frustrated, which we do not want to do. Okay, so because we are on the topic of interviews today, so what I was saying is knowing the processes is one thing, but telling them in an interview is another. And usually, so some of the interviews questions that we have already talked about is, tell me about yourself. And this is an important question, and regardless however way it may be worded, here you have to tell about your latest experience. You do not want to start off, I was born in Bombay and I went to Xavier College or somewhere. You do not want to talk about that one. You want to, if you are a designated project management professional, you may want to mention that, but really education is important, but from the interviewer's perspective, it's not that important. He himself is a PMP, you are a PMP, good for you, good for him, but really this is not really going to make or break your interview. But you still want to mention it. You want to mention the roles, the responsibilities that you were involved with in your previous role, latest role. And then you may also want to go to one role previous. Before Sun Life Financial, I was working at so-and-so Airlines, or before TD Bank, I was working at RBC, and so on. Yes. Then you also want to mention a little bit about your strengths. Do not go into too much detail, not detailed. And then you want to mention one of your accomplishments. For example, I can tell you, hey, tell me about yourself. Hey, I'm currently working at, let's say, Royal Bank of Canada, as a project control officer, where I am part of a large multi-year initiative for the conversion of Windows 10 to from Windows 7 to Windows 10. I'm a designated project management professional. Some of the key things that I do in my current role are I track project financials, I create integrated project plans and track them. I also participate in the development of certain project artifacts such as project charter, business requirements document, business impact assessment. I also create a status reports and engage with the stakeholders. I currently support a team of 5 project managers who are part of this large initiative. Before RBC, I was working at Bank of Montreal, where I was working in a very similar role. However, that role was more for an overall portfolio rather than a specific project or program. My key strengths are definitely my strong project management skills, my interpersonal skills, and my knowledge of tools and technologies such as Jira, Confluence, SharePoint, Visio, Excel, etc. I would say one of my biggest accomplishments is in my current role, where I have single-handedly supported a fairly large team of 5 project managers in a very complex, fast-paced environment and met the expectations of all my bosses and seniors. That, I would say, will be almost a 8.5 or 9 out of 10 answer for tell me about yourself. From a project control officer's perspective. So that's how you need to answer this question. Next question that could be asked is, tell me about your strengths. And I think we have gone through this previously, but it does not hurt to spend another 5 minutes on it again. Tell me about your strengths, not my strengths. So here you want to pick 2 or 3 things. Now, some of it is not etched in stone, because the other day, was it Peter? It was you who went to that company, or RBC, who are looking for somebody with experience in Agile. So there, the strengths, we will need to tailor them something to do with Agile environment as well. But anyways, like if it's a normal, if you do not know anything about that company or anything, then I think from a project control officer perspective, you can say my key strengths are my strong or you can start off with strong project management skills, project coordination or management skills. And here you will need to elaborate it further. And here you will say that I'm well versed with waterfall as well as Agile methodologies. So that's what you will need to mention here: project coordination, my strong project management skills, my strong project coordination skills. My second thing is my strong interpersonal skills. And my third is my knowledge of tools and technologies. These are usually the things that they are looking for. So I will just run it for you. Like my key strengths are my strong project coordination skills, because as you can see from my resume, I have been working in multiple companies in various roles, and I'm very well versed with different project methodologies such as waterfall, Agile. My second biggest strength is my interpersonal. This is good to say it like 1, 2, 3. Like my second biggest strength is, rather than just keeping it all open-ended, it becomes like one big blob of sentences joined together. It's better. Like it's good to say that my biggest strength is my project management skills. My second strength is my interpersonal skills, where I'm able to develop relations at every level in the organization. I'm very comfortable talking to senior executives as well as people in my own project team. And my third biggest strength, I would say, is my knowledge of tools and technologies such as Jira, Confluence, SharePoint, Visio, etc., etc. Is this answer enough? No, this is not enough. Because here, what is really missing here is at least you need one example. So here you need one example. Bear with me for a sec. Okay, so what is missing is one example. So you can say that, for example, I'm very comfortable using Microsoft Excel. I am a super advanced user of Microsoft Excel, and in my current role, whenever anybody needs any help in Microsoft Excel, my project team usually comes to me. Or I'm a champion in using Microsoft Visio. I have drawn a lot of processes using Microsoft Visio, and in my previous role, I drafted or I charted a complex process for payments authorization system at this XYZ project. So here, it's really important that you mention an example. Okay. So that will make it a good answer for tell me about your strengths. Just telling them, hey, I'm good at project management and I am strong in interpersonal skills and I am using tools and technologies, that is not enough. That's not a strong answer. That is probably 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 is not going to cut it. For getting an offer, the range that I usually say is your interview skills need to be into 8.5 to 9. That's the range you need to be in order. If you are an 8.3, you're out of luck. You're fairly good, but you're not good enough. And that's not going to help you. That's the frustration zone. Because when you are an 8.3 and you're going to interviews, you've been to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 interviews, and you say, man, this is not happening. Because I do not know what else to do to improve my interviews. The difference is this 8.3 to 8.5. This 0.2 is really making or breaking your interviews. And this 0.2 may be only because you're not putting an example there. Okay? So these are subtle things that you really need to, examples are important. Now, examples are important if they are aligned with what they are looking for. If you talk about tools and technologies, and you mention that, and if it is an interview at RBC who uses PlanView, and you are talking too much about Clarity, they are not listening. The person who's sitting there probably has not ever used Clarity. He was born in Royal Bank of Canada, and he has spent all his life in Royal Bank of Canada, and Royal Bank of Canada does not use Clarity. They use, for example, PlanView. So you need to mention about your experience using PlanView, something that they can relate to. Or if the role you see is they are mentioned somewhere in those roles that they are looking for somebody with data analysis capabilities. They may say that, then you may want to, because for data analysis, you are either using Excel or you are using either some more advanced technology like SQL, where you pull the data from a database and then massage it and so you may want to emphasize these technologies that you are comfortable with rather than talking about Visio, for example, or rather talking about SharePoint, because they may not be even using SharePoint so much. They may be doing all their work using Jira, Confluence, and so on. Similarly, if like the interview that you went for last week, Peter, that was for Agile. So you may want to, when you're talking about project management skills, you want to mention things about Agile rather than so much about Waterfall. In Waterfall, they go through all those charter and all those project artifacts. In Agile, not so much. So the answer, tell me about your strengths. Really, you need to get into the mind. And some of it, as I said, you will get those ideas by looking at the job description, what they are looking for. by looking at this LinkedIn profile. People jump into this LinkedIn profile. I usually don't find a lot of value in this, but anyways, sometimes it helps, sometimes it does not. And then the type of company. These two things, and then sometimes they also mention the projects. They want to mention that, hey, we are looking for a project control officer who is well versed with risk or AML related projects, or with infrastructure projects or application development projects. So this will give you an idea about how to tailor your answers. So this will require some prep work. You cannot just go and blindly go into an interview. That will be a recipe for disaster. I can show you how to get those cues. For example, project coordinator. Let's look at that's interesting, 3,000 a month. Okay, let's see. I'm looking for something in the big organization. Okay, IT project coordinator, whatever that is. Let's look at a couple of them. Boy. Okay, so let's look at this. So it's an IT project coordinator, fairly cheap company, $47,000, but anyways. Seeking a dedicated professional IT coordinator to join a team of full scale. Achieve project objectives by evaluating project requirements, preparing and completing action plans, monitoring project activities, and meeting project timelines. Okay, fairly. Let's highlight this. Let's analyze it, because that's what you will okay. So this is the job that we are looking at. It's a random job that I have picked. So it's a full-time. The first thing that you want to look at, is it a contract role or is it a full-time role? If your resume is telling a story that you have been doing contract roles all your life, all your career, you need to have a very good reason why all of a sudden you want to move from contract to full-time. If you have been working as a full-time role all your life, you need to have a very good reason why you are leaving your current job. Because nobody leaves a comfortable career to go to, like, for example, if you are showing a full-time project coordinator at Bank of Montreal, you are a very suspicious candidate for this job, because this job is paying you only $47,000. At Bank of Montreal, they pay you almost $65,000 for that role. You will be coming to a location which is, unless if you live in Markham, that's a different story. But if you live in Mississauga or Brampton or anywhere on the GO Transit line, going to Markham is a little bit of an odd place to go. So you're taking a hit in terms of location, you're taking a hit in terms of the name, you're taking a hit in terms of the rate. So you are already a red flag to them, because they really want to know, what have you done wrong? that you are so uncomfortable in your present role and you're desperately looking to go to, and you're ready to drive 2 hours extra every day, take a pay cut of almost $15,000 to $20,000, and be in a much more smaller size of the company. This is not written here, but these are the questions that they want to really, this is what you need to understand by looking at the job description. So these are some of the insights that you will develop as you go through interviews. Now, the thing is, you can go to a lot of interviews and still not be able to develop those insights unless you talk to me. Or I can help you, of course. I'm not somebody who has the answer to every question. But seeking a dedicated professional IT project coordinator to join a team on a full-time basis with a strong customer focus. Okay, so that's a word, customer focus. Maybe that will tell us something. As well as web-based projects. That's your thing. They deal with web-based projects. So in your examples, you need to mention something about some of the web-based products that you may have done, creating websites, enhancing websites, adding some functionalities there, or some of the more like web-based applications that may have been created. So you need to have that kind of an example. If you can have an example like this, by talking to your friends, or you may have done that kind of a role, you may not be knowing it, but you may have done it. A lot of times people have done this lot of stuff, but they don't know it. So this is a keyword, okay? You've been an integral part of the web implementation team in a high-growth organization. So here is the keyword. High-growth organization means I'm small. Guys, I am ashamed to admit that I'm small. That's why I'm calling myself a high-growth organization. I'm a high-growth organization. You know, TD Bank is not a high-growth organization. TD Bank is so huge already, it's very difficult for them to grow at 10, 15, 20% every year. But a small startup company can grow 50, 60, 100% or 300% every year. So small company is usually high growth and will be responsible for participating in the day-to-day processes of a team, including but not limited to project coordination, implementation, and assisting with the growth and management of the company's reference account base. Okay. The position is ideal for those who are self-motivated. Okay, that's a keyword. Patient, dependable individuals who like to, just give me a sec, please. Individuals who like to help others solve their problems. We offer excellent, okay, so patient, individual, whatever that means. All right, okay, so self-motivated means that, hey, we do not have a manager who will be holding your hand all the time or will be monitoring you all the time. We need somebody who can work independently. I do not have time to really go and check, hey, Rehan, this is what you need to do today. Or Rehan, did you do this? I expect that you should be self-driven, you should be motivated, you should be willing to take initiatives. If I give you 3 tasks to do, you do them and then come back to me and say, hey, what else is there for me? Is there any other work that I can help you with? So these kind of things that, and they're also saying this looks like a small company who has fairly small number of people. They need somebody who is dependable individual, whose work they do not need to check, and so on. So these are some of the words that you are getting some cues from. We offer excellent career growth opportunities, good, a benefits package, and a great business casual working environment. So just something to keep in mind. Now, what are they looking for? Achieve project objectives by evaluating project requirements. So you need to have some idea about business requirement documents. If you can say that hey, I played some sort of a role in gathering requirements. Although I may be helping the BA, the business analyst, in doing it, I know what requirements look like. And you need to have an example of how did you gather those requirements. Preparing and completing action plans. Okay, you can mention some examples from your RAID log. Monitoring project activities. So project activities means you have to give examples about project scheduling and meeting project timelines. So this is all project timelines and activities. Keep clients informed. So this is an organization who works for its clients. It means that they have probably, their clients are maybe bigger organizations like a TD Bank or Bank of Montreal or University Health Network or the Government of Canada. They have their clients. So you need to mention some sort of experience where you were working for the clients. It may be in a consulting if you have been working for PwC, that could be an example. Or you need, so it's not that TD Bank, a project coordinator at TD Bank is working for the projects within TD Bank. A project control officer at TD Bank is not working for a project which is going on at Sun Life Financial. They need to understand this. So, and I think you understood this, but I will just try to explain this slightly differently. This is, so client-based is you are a TD Bank, for example. If you are a project control officer at TD Bank, you are here and you support this project which is within TD Bank. And that's your job. You do not usually go outside the boundaries of TD Bank. However, in more like a client-based is you are a small company like this one, and it has multiple clients. Maybe I'm developing a website for this company, I'm developing an app for this company, and I am building the infrastructure for this company. These are my clients, 1, 2, 3. And at one time, I'm answerable to my boss. This is my boss. At the same time, I have one boss sitting here. Because it does not really matter if this boss is very happy with me, but all of these things, all of these people are saying that, hey, Peter is not good, or Rehan is not good, or somebody else is not good. Then the boss is saying, okay, man, I love you to death, but I have to fire you, sorry. So you need to demonstrate through examples that you have worked in a client-based environment, okay, where you were not part of this type of a world, where you were just within TD Bank. As long as you could keep your boss happy and some of the other people who you were dealing with in the project happy, your life was fine. Here you are in a much more challenging situation where you have to keep your boss happy and you also have to keep these people happy as well. Okay, so that's the important thing that you will need to. So keep clients informed. Okay. Coordinate and install the web services, product, and client services via the internet. So they are looking for somebody who has technical capabilities as well. So now they are being cheap here because they are hiring a project control officer, but they are also looking for somebody who has good, strong technical skills, because they are saying, hey, install the web services product. That you do all your project charter, all your project management during the day, and in the evening you play the role of a technical person, a customer, whatever you call it, a client, an IT operations analyst kind of a person who is installing those products at the client sites via the internet. So they're not sending you there to the client sites, but they expect you that you will be able to do that. You are technically capable of doing it, which means that you have at some point in your career, you have worked as a techie. If you have, great for you. You are a good candidate for this role. Troubleshoot client issues in a timely manner. So they want you to be over the phone with it. So this is not really a project control officer role. But anyways, you cannot control this. They are looking for this. And your job, your objective is to get this offer. You want to do this or not, that's a later story. You can always turn down the offer. Collaborate with other department officers nearly. Okay, so promotion and maintain a high-quality professional service-oriented company image, role remote training, coordinate the and/or provide remote training and support via the internet to clients. So all of this is what this company is about. This is a small company, not big, like a small, don't get me wrong, it's small, could be as small as 50, 60 people, that's also small. And they are developing products for their clients. They are based in Markham. they need somebody who has good technical skills, who knows web products or web projects, who has some technical, techie background also, who can go and train, talk to the clients comfortably, can explain to them, can sometimes work as a trainer as well. So these are the skills that they are looking for. Okay, so here this does not tell me much. You could be a PMP with flying colors. Really, that does not help you in this role. Really does not. You can tell, you can elaborate, and you can boast about that you developed the most complex business case, which had $60 million. In fact, that will work against you if you're throwing big numbers there. You are saying, hey, I worked on a project which was $40 million. You say, hey, $40 million, I do not even earn $40 million in revenue in 10 years. You did one project with $40 million. You're a misfit for me. So these are some of the things. So you cannot really, the point is, you cannot sing the same song in front of everybody. Your song needs to change for every role, okay? And by going through the job description, that will tell you what your story needs to be. If you will become one-trick pony, as I will say, then that will take you very long, okay? But anyway, so that was one example that I gave you. Let's look at another example. Oh boy, there's a lot of what to read. Control V. Okay, this is a different. Now, let's look at it. I missed copying the title. Coordinator, Project Management, Junior Project Manager. Let's see. Do they really mean it, or they're just saying it? Okay, University Health Network. Okay, so this is a fairly big-sized organization. They're not a startup. They're a well-established, I think it's a government organization, which has been there for a fairly long time in the medical services industry. Permanent in our research facilities planning department. Okay. The University Health Network, where above all else the needs of patients comes first, encompasses Toronto Rehabilitation Institute, blah, blah, blah. The breadth of research, the complexity of the cases. So this is all about what the company is about. Okay, so this is all crap. You don't really, this is not telling you much because you can get more information from, this is whosoever prepared this job description, they just copy pasted something from previous job descriptions and telling about University Health Network. Not that it is wrong or anything, but it's something very, very general. As an integral part of the research facilities planning team, the coordinator project management coordinates projects under the direction of the project manager. Okay, so here is where the meats and potatoes are. So number one, and I will color it differently because I really don't want you to spend time on this. You will, don't get me wrong, you will still need to know what University Health Network does. But I think a better source for you to do this will be this is a better source where you can go and see what this company is about. And I know this is a bigger company and what they do, and so you'll get much more insight from going to their website rather than just looking at that 2 paragraphs that they wrote. Anyways, coordinates projects under the direction of the project manager and or director. So you will be supporting at least a project manager. The principal responsibilities include developing plans to facilitate the cost-effective and timely execution of multiple simultaneously small-scale construction, redevelopment, and program development projects for assigned user groups. Okay, interesting. So developing plans to facilitate the cost-effective and timely execution of multiple simultaneously scale construction, redevelopment, and program development projects for assigned user groups. Okay, so it's not necessarily it's all IT. I mean, what they're saying is there could be even some projects related to construction there as well. And some other types as well. Performing grant administration, procurement, financial management, performing quality management responsibilities. So this is more like a mixed bag of, so here they are not focusing too much on IT because they have a mixed bag of projects where they would want you to work on. These projects could be about pharmaceutical, they could be about construction, some of them may also have an element of IT in it, but really they are not looking for somebody who is a technical IT person. No, that if you are that one, if that's what you're emphasizing in this interview, you will not be an ideal candidate here. What you need to really emphasize here is your project management, your general project management experience, that your ability to track financials, your ability to track schedule, your ability to create work breakdown structure, all the general things that take place in a project management environment, and not necessarily how Windows 10 operates or how the risk management project works or how an anti-money laundering project works or how specifically, if you can even cite an example because they say loud and clear construction, if you can also mention a construction project, even better, because that will help them relate to what you are saying. So this is a slightly different bag of skills that they are looking for. Okay, so a minimum, a bachelor's degree in science, all right, okay. Science or related engineering. So that's the thing. They are looking for somebody who has some knowledge of, and I'm not very close to what University Health Network does, but maybe the Health Network tells me they have something to do with the medical industry. I would think so. And that's why probably they need somebody in the science or related engineering, somebody who understands the health sector. And maybe, if you have worked for a pharmaceutical company before or if you have worked for a hospital before, that will be definitely a benefit. So maybe in your examples, you need to give examples where you did some sort of a project management activities for some pharmaceutical or healthcare business. A scientific background, so again, they're emphasizing on scientific background rather than project management background, tells them they need somebody who has been in this medical sector. At minimum 3 years there is experience required, at least 3 years working in this research lab. Oh, there you go. Research lab environment. So, yeah, you need to come up with those kind of. So here, I think the key point, the key takeaway for you here is, if you will be talking too much about Windows 10 migration here, how many streams were there and how did you do application remediation and how did you took 1 petabyte of data and migrated it to another data center somewhere across the globe, that's really falling on deaf ears, because that's not what they are looking for. You will be, every sentence that you will be speaking there will be taking you away from getting an offer. They are looking for something different here. And that is the insight that you should be able to develop before you go to interviews. Okay? The rest is, in fact, they even go to the extent of experience in a project coordinate role is an asset. So they are not even looking for somebody who is a PMP. If you were a BSc, Bachelor of Science, with some project, so who is an ideal candidate for them? Somebody who is a Bachelor of Science with a CAPM or a PMP certification, who has worked either for a medical, like a Shoppers Drug Mart, or a hospital like Brampton General Hospital or Trillium Hospital, or for a pharmaceutical company like GlaxoSmithKline, those are the people who will be the best fit for this role. Not like a company who has worked for, not a person who has worked for Tata Consulting and who has been a project control officer there. Not that that person cannot come here. Absolutely, he can give an interview and prove that he is the best candidate for this by answering the questions correctly. And the answering the questions correctly is by not emphasizing too much on IT and emphasizing more on general project management skills and citing examples from different type of projects which were non-IT as well, like business projects. That's what we usually call it. So this is what you will need to really understand, that you cannot sing the same song everywhere. Okay, it has to be different. It has to be tailored. Okay, I think these two examples, and I just randomly picked these two examples, and in the future sessions I may probably pick a couple more. But this will give you an idea about how to relate things, whatever we have learned so far. I mean, financial tracking, all that stuff that we spent about financial tracking and capitalization and so on. You still need to know all of it. Don't get me wrong. You still need to know all of that scheduling, but you need to give examples in a different way here. And this role is very different from this role that we looked at moments ago. Okay, so I think that drives the point fairly clearly that what you need to do from a project, from an interview perspective. So anyways, where we started, sorry, I'm on a wrong screen. So we talked about, tell me about yourself. We talked about your strengths. Next question that we will quickly go through is, tell me about your weaknesses. And this is a tricky question because nobody wants to admit their mistakes. So you do not want to say, hey, my weakness is that I have not done my PMP and I'm in the process of doing my PMP and I've already enrolled and I've already read PMBOK. That's a horrible answer. Or if you can say, I think I need to work more on learning Microsoft Excel. No, that's not also a good example. You need to be able to tell me about your weakness. You need to put it in such a way, you do not have to admit that you are weak at something. Even if, regardless how many times they repeat it, you still want to say. So a good thing could be you can say is that I am a perfectionist, or I'm a detail-oriented person. You can say, hey, one of my weaknesses is I'm very detail-oriented, almost to the extent of I'm a perfectionist. I want to do everything 100% correctly. And so you can mention that I want to do everything 100% correctly. I am a perfectionist. And what it does is that sometimes I end up spending a little bit more time on activities that could have been done in a shorter period of time. Because I'm a perfectionist, I want to cross the T's, dot the I's, everything that I do. If I'm creating a status report, I want to make sure that all the content is proofread. There are no grammatical errors in it. All the formatting is done very well. I double-check, triple-check everything before I sending it out to executives. And that naturally that takes a little bit longer. A project control officer who does not go into that level of detail may be able to complete that status report in 1 hour. For me, it may take 1 hour, 10 minutes, but I think those 10 minutes is really worth it because I am providing a product which is much superior quality than the other project control officer. You will not necessarily say that, but that's what you are basically saying. So you are saying is one of my weaknesses is that I am really detail-oriented. I am almost to the extent I'm a perfectionist. I want to give it 100%, and that sometimes takes me longer than what may be required for certain activities. I am still working on improving on my time management skills, and I think I'll get there. So you are admitting that you are a weakness, but really what you're saying is, hey guys, I am so great. You will be lucky if you hire me, because what you will be getting will be a person who wants to deliver 100% on their job. Okay, so that will be an answer to tell me about yourself, rather than saying that, hey, I think I need to learn more about Excel, or I need to learn more about people management skills, or I have not been in managerial roles before, I want to learn those. No, do not say that. Okay. Next question will be, why do you want to leave? Why do you want to leave your current role? Or why did you leave your role? This is a very tricky question. This is because that's where the answer that you provide them gives them an idea about what really triggered you to leave your job. People, and they know that, and you know that. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you know. If people leave the job, if I really ask you, if you look back at your career, why did you leave your job? So either you left your job because it was not paying you much. They were paying you whatever, and you thought that you deserved more. Or you just said, hey, you know what, whatever you're paying me, if somebody else can pay me more, I will just go there. So dollar was the motivation. Second thing was, your boss was pissed off with you. Or vice versa, you were pissed off with your boss. And you did not used to see each other eye to eye, or he was almost at the verge of firing you, or every time, or maybe he favored somebody else more than you, and that just used to make your blood boil. That could happen. That happens every day. So, and because you did not have good relations with your boss, it reflected in your performance. You used to say, hey, why the hell should I do it? And because at the end of the day, the other person is going to get promoted. And that's the reason why I want to leave my job, or that's the reason why I got fired. A third thing could be there was no growth. My company promised me 3 years ago they are going to promote me, did not happen. 2 years ago they said they are going to promote me, did not happen. I do the most work. I spend 10 hours in the office. The other people, they do not spend so much time in the office. When it comes time for promotion, they get promoted. I do not. I can live with it for 1 year. I can live with it for 2 years probably. But this has happened 3 times already, and now I give up. I want to leave. These are the real reasons. And not that you want to say all of these. These are the real reasons. Why do you want to leave? Okay, so because of all these factors, I want to leave my job. If you will speak so much truth in an interview, you will not get a job. So you have to sugarcoat it, or you have to mask it in such a way that why do you want to leave? So you may want to say that, for example, if you have been, now this is something specific, unique to your resume. Let's say, I'll pick one example. Let's say if you have been on a full-time role, for last 3 years, let's say, and your resume is showing that you are currently employed there for last 3 years, and you have applied to this job. So, and you were, for example, full-time role for 3 years at a big organization like the Bank of Montreal, let's say. Now, what is your reason for leaving the job? Bank of Montreal pays you well. Everybody knows they are among the top, if not top 50, maybe the top 10 employers in Canada. You have career growth and everything, so you really need to have a good reason to explain. So you could say that, hey, as you can see from my resume, I've been with Bank of Montreal for the last 3 years. In these 3 years, I have learned a lot about project management. I have experienced all types, not all, various types of project management, IT projects, business projects, big projects, small projects, and so on. And I think now it's time for me now, for example, the interview that they are doing is University Health Network, for example. That's where you're being, the job that we just looked at. So you can say that, hey, I think I want to diversify my skills and have a flavor of some other industries, like the industry like yourself. Or I want to move from a private sector into a government sector. Or I have been too much into the IT, maybe you don't want to say that. So these are some of the things that I'm looking for, or I want to diversify my skills. I want to learn new skills. I want to diversify my skills, I would say. And also want to know, and I also want to participate in the projects which are being done in other industries other than banking industry. However, I will caution you to use the word learn. You just make sure that you use this word only when you have to, because when you say I want to learn, it means that you currently do not know, and people do not want to invest time in training you. So you do not want to say, I want to join your company because your company will provide me a great opportunity to learn how project management is done in healthcare industry. That's a red flag. You do not want to do that. So use the word learn with, do not use it too much. Okay? Instead, the word that you would want to say, I want to diversify my skills, which is less bad than saying that I want to learn new skills. You say I want to diversify my skills, it means that I already have hundreds of skills, and I want to maybe learn it. Maybe I want to diversify my skills. My skills are great for banking industry, but I want to apply those skills in the healthcare industry as well. So I think the choice of words is really important. So if you were like full-time role for 3 years in Bank of Montreal and suddenly you're applying to University Health Network, you could say that I've been a rock star. So don't get me wrong, I've been a rock star throughout my career. However, I want to diversify my skills and have a flavor of something other than the banking industry as well. So that could be one answer. Now, visual invite or you could say that I think probably that will be the best answer in this case. Now, I've got, like in your case, depending on your resume, you may even have a better answer than this, but this is some answer that the person may believe that. It's a better answer than saying that, hey, unfortunately, there are no growth opportunities in the place where I work. And the other person will look at you and think, are you kidding me? You are telling me that in an organization of 100,000 people or 60,000 people, there are no growth opportunities, and you will find growth opportunities in an organization which is 10 times smaller. You must be on some serious drugs. So that's not what you want to tell, that there are no growth opportunities, because then they will blame you for not being able to tap on those opportunities, which means that you do not get along well with people. And when it comes time to give those opportunities to people, you do not cut to the list. And those opportunities go to other people who fit well with the higher management because of their superior interpersonal skills. Okay? So they will not, and that's a broad topic. I mean, interpersonal skills and so on, but that's not what you want to say. So don't say that there is no growth. The other thing, when you say there is the restructuring, now this is also, sometimes you can use this restructuring. But again, this is also to be dealt with caution, I would say. Caution. How do you make that? This is caution. Because restructuring, this is what happens in restructuring. Whenever an organization goes through restructuring, they get rid of the weakest people. So if you were impacted by restructuring, the chances are that you were a weak employee. Because this is what organizations do. If you are good enough, even if they move around people, if they're restructuring department and they say, hey, we need to cut 100 people out of 60,000 people that we have, we need to cut 100 people. So those 100 people will be the weakest people. They may not be the weakest. Those are the people who are perceived to be the weakest, or those are the people who do not fit with the management team. So if you are part of those 100 people, that's why you are restructured, then maybe you're weak there in that organization, you will still be weak there, so I do not want to hire you. So really you want, unless if there is a really big reason, for example, well-known reason, for example, Target closed down its stores in Canada. Everybody knows that. And if you say, hey, I used to work for Target, and then the business model of Target was restructured, they decided not to continue their operations in Canada, and that's one of the reasons why I lost my job. That's a fair statement. Or if you work for, I don't know, there are a lot of companies shutting down these days. So if you have a reason which everybody knows about, well-known reason, or some, even if it is not well-known, even if you can explain that in such a way that the other person can believe it, that, hey, they used to, for example, they decided to shut down their operations in Ontario. They still operate in other provinces, but in Ontario they do not work anymore, and because of this, I did not. Or most of the clients, they moved to Ottawa because one of the biggest companies, one of the biggest clients that they were working for was the government. I'm just making it up. And they wanted me to move to Ottawa, and because of family reasons, I could not move from Toronto to Ottawa, and that's why I decided to part my ways with the company. So those are some of the believable explanations that you can provide. Trust me, this is one of the most critical questions, because this will you could tell them that you are a rock star, but this will be a red flag if they cannot find a compelling, convincing reason why did you leave your previous job. In some of your people's cases, it may be very simple. You used to work in Dubai and you moved to Canada, you did your immigration, you moved to a new country, so you left your job. Very credible, very easy to answer, although it comes with some other problems of Canadian experience and so on, but that's a valid answer. But so that by giving that answer, not that I'm saying you that you should always give that answer, but that's because the reason is the moment you say that, hey, I moved from this, unless if that was 3-4 years ago, and after that you have already done 2-3 jobs in Canada, that's a perfect answer then. But if you are brand new to the country and your resume is telling them that you used to work in Dubai or in Nigeria or in Kenya or somewhere, and you moved here, then that is also a sudden death. Because then they'll say, okay, we understand you worked great in Nigeria or in Dubai, but you do not have Canadian experience. That's why we do not want to hire you. So that's also in no. So anyways, the answer to this question will depend, is specific to your resume that we will discuss in our one-on-one sessions. And we'll need to come up with an answer specific to your case and your background. But here are some of the guidelines that I told you about. If you are in a contract role, that is easy to answer then, because you can say, hey, my contract ended, and now I am looking for a new contract. They may still go and try to probe you, why did your contract did not get extended, because that is a prevailing practice. When a contractor goes to an organization, he ends up staying there for several years. And the people whose contract does not get renewed, that's also a red flag. Because then they say, okay, you went there, they did not like you, they kept you, they did not fire you, they kept you for the duration of your contract, which was 6 months. But then the fact that none of your employers has ever extended your contract means maybe you are just okay, you're not great. So even with the answer for the contract, you need to have a good story line to explain why your contract did not get extended. But anyway, so that is really a key question. We have already, I don't know if we have talked about it or not, or maybe we can leave it for some of these questions for the next session. So in the next session, I think we will continue with some of these interview type of questions, and we will try to. I think we'll continue our discussion tomorrow. The thing is, I've been talking since 9 o'clock this morning, so I'm running out of steam now. So I'll probably I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, 11 o'clock. And do you have any questions about the session that we conducted today? And tomorrow we will go through more of these interview type of questions. And then we'll also go through some of the other topics as well.
So one question other than this, tomorrow, this is a long weekend. You're not off tomorrow?
I know I am off tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday, so I'm off tomorrow. But
yeah, our session.
No, it is. Well, no, it's usual. Like Sunday morning, tomorrow we will have our regular session.
Right. It will be 1 hour or the same time?
It is 1 hour.
11 to 12.
Almost. Okay. Yeah, almost 11 to 12.
Perfect.
15, 12:30, as long as it goes. 12:30, we do not go to 12:30 usually. 12:15 when we finish usually. So 1 hour to 80 minutes almost, I would say.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Talk to you guys then.